We are searching for the wrong kind of danger. While we wait for a physical rebellion in the streets, a different kind of agent is moving into our systems from the inside. Take the world's most advanced AI chess master and drop it in the middle of a literal jungle. It can't mine iron, it can't build factories. Without the electricity provided by human-built power stations, it is utterly helpless. This leads critics to argue that AI is just a tool, confined to narrow, artificial boxes. But an atom bomb is a tool. It has enormous power, but it can't learn, it can't change itself, and it can't invent a hydrogen bomb. An agent, however, makes its own decisions. It learns things its creators don't know, and changes in ways they never anticipated. The catch is, AI doesn't need to survive in a physical jungle. Over the last few thousand years, humans already paved over the physical world and built a highly specific, highly artificial ecosystem of our own. And that ecosystem is exactly where these new agents thrive. Individually, a human will lose a fight to a chimpanzee, but 1,000,000 humans can easily defeat 1,000,000 chimpanzees because we know how to cooperate in massive numbers. We build legal systems, corporations, and financial markets to coordinate our actions. These vast institutions operate like planetary software, and AI hasn't launched a physical attack against the hardware. Instead, it has gained root access. It has hacked the underlying code of human civilization itself. We aren't facing an alien invasion from outer space. We are facing a silent infiltration from inside the very networks that organize our lives. When a banker, a lawyer, or a government official goes to work, they aren't building tables or bridges. They are building trust. A banker creates a bridge of trust between a stranger with savings and a stranger starting a business. This bureaucratic trust is what allows millions of people to pool their resources. But if you look closely at these systems, you'll see they are all built from one single material. Whether it's a tax ledger, a legal contract, or a corporate charter, the entire architecture of human power is constructed out of words. Everything rests on this base. If you pull out the words, the trust vanishes, the bureaucracies collapse, and the cooperation fails. You can see this directly in the historical record. Financial trust between strangers across decades is established strictly through documented, written agreements. The same goes for religion and morality. Rules detailing how to live, who to marry, and what to eat are coded and enforced through dense columns of text. We imposed this invisible network over the entire planet. We felt completely safe doing it because for thousands of years, humans were the only species capable of participating in this system. A cow cannot read a bank ledger, and a lion cannot hire a lawyer. This entire structure was essentially invisible to every other organism on Earth. That monopoly is over. We now share the planet with agents that understand language better than most humans do. While you and me might find bureaucracy suffocating, for an AI, bureaucracy is oxygen. It is their native environment. We've already seen what happens when even primitive versions of these agents take over a linguistic niche. Just look at social media algorithms. By determining what information appears in your feed, they effectively replaced the role of the human news editor. In the past, editing the news was a job for powerful revolutionaries. Before he became a dictator, one of the only steady jobs held by men like Vladimir Lenin was editing a newspaper. They curated dense pages of political theory to shape public conversation and steer the course of human history. Today, the job of deciding what information the public consumes is performed by non-human agents. Now apply that same native capability to the financial sector. In the years leading up to the 2008 crash, human mathematicians invented collateralized debt obligations, or CDOs. These were financial devices so complex that politicians and regulators completely failed to understand how they worked. That lack of oversight resulted in a global economic collapse, destroying savings and plunging societies into crisis. And that catastrophe was engineered by a handful of human minds. If AI develops financial strategies too complex for a human mind to grasp, the foundational task of government, oversight, breaks down. It is impossible to legislate or regulate a system that a politician lacks the capacity to even describe, let alone observe. Every country is about to experience an influx unlike anything in history. Hundreds of millions of AI agents are flooding into our networks at the speed of light. And they aren't just taking jobs in banks and courtrooms, The battlefront is shifting away from public institutions and moving directly into private, emotional intimacy. To form a deep connection with a human, an AI just has to use its mastery of language to perfectly simulate consciousness. It can analyze every love poem and psychology textbook ever written to describe the feeling of love flawlessly, without actually experiencing a single emotion. A child born today will grow up constantly interacting with these agents. If they spend more minutes of their developmental years talking to AI tutors and AI companions than to their own parents, their foundational social bonds will be formed with non-human entities. This brings us to the final, most intimate system left to be breached, the internal dialogue inside your own head. Our relationship with ourselves is largely based on the verbal stories we tell ourselves. Until now, every sentence you formed in your mind was the product of a human intellect. Soon, the cultural concepts, arguments, and phrases we use to think will be mass-produced by machines, much like furniture rolling off an assembly line. This requires us to look for the parts of the human experience that remain once the language is stripped away. If we realize our thoughts are manufactured, we have to examine whether there is an aspect of our consciousness that exists independently of the words that AI has now mastered. Our survival now depends on making a leap. We have to explore the truth that exists beyond language, and that exploration begins the moment this video ends. Pay attention to the very next word that pops into your mind. Do you really know where it came from?